Movement in Apex Legends is challenging at times, but today I've got some special movement techniques that are going to really help you get that speed as high as you possibly can, because trust me, in a game like this, you need it. Before we get started, I just wanted to make a quick note. For those of you looking for grappling techniques, those will not be covered in this video. I suggest that you take a look at the Pathfinder video to find everything that you could possibly want to know about the basics and intermediate tactics of grapple. At the time of publishing this video, that one is not quite ready and done yet, but for those of you time travelers out there, the Pathfinder video is probably out. I will link it in the description for you to go to if you specifically want grapple. But for everything else, here is the universal stuff that you need to know. First up, let's cover your slide. The initial burst of speed from your slide is significantly higher than your sprinting speed on flat ground and declines. On inclines, not so much. I would not recommend sliding up hills in most situations, but whenever you're on flat land or going down a hill, you want to slide often. It will speed you up by a significant margin. Jumping also maintains your momentum, so if you slide and then jump, you're going to maintain the momentum from your slide for just that little bit of extra distance, and that's going to help you, again, cover ground just that little tiny bit faster. But over time, over the course of a few minutes of you running, the distance per time gain that you get is very, very noticeable, especially if you're running from the circle. If you are out of bounds while the circle is closing, during the first couple of phases, it moves just barely faster than you run. But if you start doing the slide and jump technique every few seconds, you're actually able to outpace the circle when sprinting alone would not allow you to do so. So it's very, very important that you learn this basic technique. So to take this all one step further and to wrap it up in a nice clean package for you, the best way to move on flat land is as simple as this. Sprint, slide, then jump. Then you want to return to sprinting for a few seconds so that way your slide and jump can sort of recharge, so to speak, because they need to do that in this game. You can't just mash them as fast as possible. They need a second to kind of rebuild stamina almost, if that makes sense. It's not truly what's happening, but for the sake of explanation, close enough. Sprint, slide, then jump. Return to sprinting for a few seconds. Slide, then jump again, and just rinse and repeat. You want to have a few seconds of sprinting between every slide and then jump that you do. It's really that easy. While this game does not have bunny hopping or slide hopping or anything like that, this is your fastest possible flatland movement that is known at this time and is universal to all legends. One caveat though is that water and slides do not mix. If you're running through water, such as in like the lagoon areas in the map, don't bother sliding. It slows you down instantly and is worse than just sprinting. Bringing hills into the equation is where slide gets really fun though. Sliding down hills is significantly faster than sprinting, and jumping will still maintain your momentum just like it does on flat ground. So if you're trying to cover ground fast, it might sometimes be faster to go just a little out of your way if it means getting on top of a hill, then taking the speed boost that going down it might provide you. One thing I will note, however, is that there seems to be a speed cap when going down hills. I always feel like no matter how long I slide or how steep the hill, once I get past a certain angle of descent, I'm pretty much always going down at the same velocity. The game unfortunately doesn't have any sort of built-in speedometer, which you'd see in most arena shooters like Quake, so I don't have a great way of validating this claim, unfortunately. Another cool thing to note is that normally if you slide, jump, then try to instantly slide again on flat ground, you lose pretty much all your speed, like we mentioned earlier. This is not true when going downhill. You can jump and slide all you want to maintain your speed when going down hills, as long as every slide lands on that downward slope. Use this to your advantage to change the angle or direction of your slide down the hill by jumping between slides. As a more advanced tip, and this is less useful in general, but it's a small little optimization that you can try to do given enough time and practice, is that when you slide laterally or sideways along a hill, you're not going to simply slide in the direction that you're looking. You're slowly going to inherit some momentum going down the hill due to the simulation of gravity. This means that your slide won't be in a straight line, it'll arc down the hill until eventually you're just going straight down the hill. Sometimes you might want to start your slide actually going uphill a little bit to a small angle to alter the ending point of your slide. This can be the difference between slamming into a building at the bottom of the hill or going around it. But this is all a game of angles. You need to play whatever angle is appropriate for what you're trying to do, and you're only going to learn how to do that given time and practice. Moving on from the slide, it's important to note that you're capable of climbing up walls to get to high places. While this is obvious to some players, I feel it's important to note here because I'm sure there's somebody out there, at least one person, who doesn't know that it's actually possible and how important it is in this game. Simply run at a wall and jump at it while continuing to hold forward. You'll start climbing up, and if you reach a ledge, you'll grab it and pull yourself over. It's important to note that you can't climb indefinitely, so you'll often have to make your climbs one segment at a time. To get a little more advanced with this movement, you can also climb diagonally. This is great if you're down in the lagoon areas, as with good execution, you can climb diagonally up those really skinny roofs on the tiny one-room buildings to get on a nice, flat platform with great views over the surrounding area. While it's not a super powerful position to be in overall, it's still just a proof of concept that you have very tight control over the direction in which you climb, and with practice you can do these difficult climbs. So practicing here is a great way to get used to accomplishing these feats. Also noteworthy is that you can climb up and mantle on top of open doors. So sometimes you can open a door to an exterior of a building to help you climb up that building when you otherwise wouldn't be able to. So these little things are going to give you some awesome mobility options that other players may not ever expect you to have. Finally, we have air strafing. This is a holdover within the Titanfall engine, which is what this game is running on. During quick movements, such as a jump immediately after sliding, you're able to make appreciable adjustments to your momentum vector in order to more accurately move around the map. In English, it lets you turn midair, much like you're throwing a baseball, you throw a curveball or something and the ball curves through the air. Akin to that, you are able to curve yourself, that momentum that you have, through the air. This is pretty hard to pick up if you've never done it before, especially in this game, since the air strafing is so weak and the jumps at high speed are so low to the ground, but it is still there. To air strafe, you must jump with a lot of speed built up already, so start with a slide and then jump. That is like the minimum requirement. As soon as you press jump, release the forward key on your keyboard, and then hold either left or right only, then start moving your mouse in that same direction. On a controller, jump both of your joysticks in that same direction, and you're going to strafe through the air and change your direction and curve through the air. One small note, dumping the right joystick all the way in either direction may be inappropriate if you play on a super high sensitivity. You're only really going to accomplish a turn of roughly 20 or so degrees here, give or take, so that's what you're really shooting for. That's all you're trying to accomplish. Don't try to overdo it and do a 180 or even a 90-degree turn. It's not possible. You won't do it. By combining all of these techniques together, you're going to increase your speed and mobility by these small little amounts, bit by bit, and in high pressure situations. All this stuff is going to add up. It might not feel like much at first, but trust me, you're going to feel so much more free in this game once you put the effort in. Anyways everyone, that'll do it for today. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope that you've learned something new. I look forward to seeing you over on Twitch, and if you really enjoyed what you saw today, I'd love it if you would get subscribed and follow at the social links down below to keep up with my content schedule and for Apex Legends updates. I'll see you in the next one. Take care.